Okay, so development has definitely slowed as I've got nearer the end. The editor itself's got more usable. I've spent more time playing with it. And also little details of sort of the way it works have become more apparent. Problems I can't really do much about. Some. Let's have a look at how it stands. There is some sort of performance issue, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something to do with Monkey or if it's something to do with Windows 10. I mean, straight off here, I'm getting 60 frames a second just over. I took off, I set it to swap interval 0, so it's not doing frame limiting anymore. Now, without FFmpeg running, when I initially start the program, I'll frequently get 130, 140, or higher, in fact, frame rates. And it just suffers seizures where they will drop, and I don't know why it is. Here is a render I did. 12 recursions and 7 segments. Anyway, it's really not clear what it is that causes the frame rate to drop. It'll drop down to 30 or 40 from 120, and it will only occasionally recover. So it's uncertain what is causing them. I noticed just there I had to pause FFmpeg and my frame rate leapt to 90, which is about what I'd expect in this view, because it is still rendering everything. But, yeah, you see this, it's just irregular. And it will go and then it will come back, if I see what I mean. And I always have this pretty regular, like when it's running about this 30%, I'll get good frame rates. Higher than this without FFmpeg. When it gets into one of its problems, this usage will drop to 10% for the recursor and for the renderer if it's running. Under normal circumstances, both will be able to take between 25 and 30%, it seems. And I'll get good frame rates, but it'll just go through these periods of crunch where my frame rate will drop. Both the recursor and the renderer will only get a fraction of what they would usually get. The memory allocation for both the recursor and the renderer stays pretty steady. Moving into the render viewer takes some more, moving out of it frees it. It's pretty, always seems very steady, as if it doesn't seem that there's a memory leak. And the fact that the performance just returns suggests it's not, you know. Certain other things on this machine perhaps are affect the performance, just like how many other things I have running. Google Chrome, interestingly, for some reason I've got two of these open. Google Chrome seems to be quite hungry, and it doesn't indicate, there's no indication here that Chrome is hungry. It's taking a bit of memory, but not as much as Firefox, but it just seemed like that was the one that affected my performance most. Don't know why. Anyway, so these are one problem. It's a problem which I don't know if I can do anything about, apart from being a less incompetent coder and doing, you know, the hard work of moving to C++. It's a kind of serious problem in as much as that I couldn't, like, it makes this into something of a prototype, to say the least. I could hardly recommend, you know, if you wanted to draw one of these patterns and you wanted to draw it at a very high number of recursions. Don't know if I could recommend this program, unfortunately, because it seems to have this problem. Never mind, in a way, you know, it still does what I planned it to do. So. Does what I planned it to do, except a couple of these scale options, and I have been thinking about that. So, the scale options render options as well. This needs taken away, this needs moved into general, and that is okay. Like, that would be a minimum number of changes to make this box more or less logical again. In fact, I should just get in and do that just now. I should reorganize this so it's a single unit, take away image options, and reorganize those bits. Is there anything else I should think about when I'm thinking about that? I don't think so. And I'm actually wondering to myself if besides that there is a tremendous amount left to do. I'm very pleased with this render in a way. It's not the most perfect shape, but the logarithmic scaling as well has been interesting in that it hasn't been that useful. It just is, it's just interesting what it does. It really, really brightens it up. And does kind of do a better job of redistributing the high parts lower. I think somebody who knows maths would know. And it kind of makes these, I don't know, very three-dimensional looking shapes. Anyway, enough of me just oohing and eyeing. It's too easy to do. Let's sort the render options. It would be a good thing to do. A recursor, the mighty class. A single idiotically huge class. Okay. Render options. Image options is going to disappear immediately. It's just a thing that is no longer part of reality. In a way, if there's things that would have gone into image options, I think they probably... I don't think that's a problem, friend. That is, mind you. I think that they... I think they can end up inside either general or the draw options. I don't think there's anything else I'm going to put into that just now. So, do I want to just get video options into... I mean, I do kind of. There's no need to, I suppose, but there's not that much here. I think I'm just going to do it. And I think that I'm going to be so bold as to just know that I'm going to manage it. So I'm going to change this to video panel. Before I do that, let me have a quick look here. What am I going to end up reusing? Options panel. Options title. This is going to be gone. This is going to be options title. Oops. Tit options titly. And this will be... This will be left where it is for now. But that can just go away. Actually, no, I'll get that a tab because I know that that's going to have a meaning. It is going to... Okay, anyway. So I'm going to start plucking things out of here and plopping them into here. So what I want to do is take this. This is just an annoyance now, basically. Man, it really is. It's just because I can't be bothered with any of that. This is being replaced by this. And this is being replaced by video. Video panel, video panel, video panel, and so on, and so forth. Now, let's see, where did I end up here? CY equals option panel height plus border, which does line me up ready for video panel itself. CX, CY. Now, what options panel face width? Okay, that should be fine. Face width, comma, some kind of height. 0.0 for now to make it bloody work. I don't need this no more. I don't need this no more. But I'm pretty sure. What options panel? Yeah, CX00. Yeah. So CX goes back to 00 for, in my case down here, for the purpose of starting to make those buttons. Resetting my cursor to inside the top left of the video panel to start adding them. CXCY button width, button height, I think that's all still correct. Face width, now I need to figure out the face height I wanted. And the face height I wanted was if height equals -1. Ah, never mind. Num buttons plus T borders, right, okay, so maybe I'll just take this logic, because it is just not, I wouldn't go as far as to say handy, but it's just a way of doing this. It's going to go away shortly. I'm just going to do a single thing, which is local video height float equals well, yeah, I see the way I've done this. Borders, sections, God, it's a pain. I don't think that I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do the whole palaver. I'm going to just write it out. 7.0 plus bar plus bore times 1 Yeah, okay. Plus border times 2.0. So it's like got 7 things and 2 borders. But that's not right, is it? Render program menu. Okay, yeah, it's got the frames per second, then at the bottom it's got keep. No. Then it's got height plus border. Not required. Okay, sorry, I'm getting oh dear. This is going to be completely in the wrong place. How do I get the bottom of it? That's pretty dodgy, I think, but anyway. Let me see. I don't much like this now. Even though, yeah, and I've said plus border times 2, even though that's too much because one of these is going to go away. Format and program. Format and keep images will stay. Program has to come out of there. And it's going to go underneath copy log. It's going to go into the options panel, in fact. It's going to go at cy plus equals copy log height. This bit becomes irrelevant, and the height, what? Options panel, alright, panel height, button height times 4 plus border times 2, this has to be button height times 5, because it's got another entry. And this has to be title, frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is now only 6 high. 6 plus border times, I think only 1. Because there's the title, there's frames, loops and frames per second. Yeah, then there's format and keep images. Now this actually kind of looks like it's getting sensible, and I think that if I go back down to here, I see that all of this has now been dealt with. This bit here, as crappy as it is. Oh, what on earth, where did that just go? This bit here is kind of done. Right, I think that so I need to get the format menu into render options, response. Yeah, why response? Oh, I don't have any menus inside that. Right, hang on. Response. Event kind. Menu select. Response. Event kind. Oh, god damn it. Now I've got to bloody tab all this stuff in. And add an end somewhere. I think it's here. Okay. Something doesn't make sense here. Okay, yeah, right. Update gadgets. No, okay. Everything is going crazy. An instance of a different class. Outward button not found, eh? Don't have any idea. I think I've just caused some problem here. Basically. Have I? Or where have I caused a problem? Why is any of this a problem? Gradient button not found. Where have I created? Oh. Okay, right, I gotta hold it together under these circumstances. It's throwing up extra errors because UpdateGadgets is like instance of a different class. That has become bizarrely confusing. But anyway, everything beyond, like where have I caused a problem here? There. I'll bet that if I do that, and just wait and wait, UpdateGadgets suddenly will be valid again at some point. Unless I've made another mistake here. Could have done with those ends. And then it's okay, right, maybe I've got one too many ends here. Which is causing that to not be defined. How did I end up with one too many ends? But there we go. Gosh. Okay, confusion. Anyway, so with that bit of palaver, I managed to get the format menu and the render program menu in there. Doing some weird calling here. I guess I only want to update gadgets if something has actually been done. Now, the buttons have to move in. let's go here after the general ones and before close. I won't make it that spaced out. And in keeping with my new scheme, I'll just keep this slightly more readable. Okay. So, UpdateGadgets needs its stuff done inside here. Render program menu, for what it's worth, will just be popped up in here. And this can be come back to. And video options now has had its innards removed and should be eschewed. So, if I've got that right, and I'm pretty bold, I'll just run it out the debugger on and see what it says. So, shouldn't have caused huge differences. Should just have slightly rearranged the video options menu. It's made the code, I don't know if neater is the word, there's fewer bits and pieces cluttering up my recursor class at any rate. What's the other thing? And it should have rearranged the buttons and should have got rid of the image specific panel. I can always put one back if I need it. I don't foresee myself needing it now. Okay, totally screwed up. Never mind. That went to the right place. Okay, let's see. Let's see all the mistakes I made. Six. Okay, that should be 6 times button height for starters. Okay, right, fine. I hate myself, but I'm going to go to button height times 6. Button height times 6 plus border times 1. Okay. Let's just see. I don't know why actually. I don't know. We will see. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is never going to be quite right. Is it? We'll see. Ah, nice. Okay, well, what's next? Button height times 6 plus border times 1. You see, that really looks like I'm setting the height to be button height. Am I mucking about with button height? I don't see myself doing that. Where am I doing it? And right here, I'm setting render program with button height. Do I also do a set event response true? I better. Better do it down here. Hang on a moment. So right, all this just go away. And this is just gibberish now. Okay, I think I know what happens. It's getting itself, it's supposed to be resized afterwards or something. How annoying. Where am I doing it? Where on earth am I resizing the video panel? Okay, I'm not. Am I? Oh man, something really baffling's happening because I'm doing this. Height equals cy plus these things. I wonder if that is what is causing me a problem. In fact, I think it possibly is. Have a quick look at how I'm aligning that panel. Locked. Baffling. All these things look kinda right, but I must admit. Height equals cy plus this. I'm using, oh, no. Okay, it doesn't look absolute bottom, relative bottom, because I'm thinking cy in the absolute bottom is where it appears on the screen, not where it appears in the window. In the gadget, it's inside its own parent gadget, which is what I want to know at this point. I'm hoping that just sorts it, to be fair. No. That brought that to the front. I'm baffled about this, to be fair. Like in a number of ways. It looks like the bottom of the actual window is kind of positioned right. Oh. Okay, right, I'm just going to lock this high. I'm going to make it doesn't change size when the window changes size. Lock this low, sorry, this thing is just locked to the top. Oh, gadget problems. Usually not too bad. Okay, so this needs boosted in size a little bit. Yeah, I'm not taking into consideration the borders at the top and bottom of the panel. Right, so I need it to be plus border times 1 height times 6. I'm going to do this in a strange way, but it makes sort of sense to me. Doesn't make a load of sense, I admit, but there's a sort of sense to it. So, halving out of halving, and really just moving, yeah. So, that's the correct order. It's displaying the correct stuff. That will do. That needs an extra, it needs to be plus bor, not plus 1. Check one more time. And have a little think about the next tiny details that, like, because I can do another couple of redistribution styles, but in a way, I think I've reached the limit of the amount of energy I want to pour into this. I want to make the last bits look okay, so it's not like obviously crazy. This was 1 pixel of difference, and I think it makes a difference. I still don't like the spacing of these, and I'm not sure. Like some labels, I don't mind the spacing of them. I think, not sure. Maybe they're all a bit low. It's hard to say. Well, on the whole, though, what are the tiny little details? Well, one thing was, I was looking at this setup and thinking, really, I suppose I could cram everything onto the top line. It could just be, this doesn't need as much space as it gets, and it could be leftmost with show info, show options, save and open over here maybe. I don't know. It's not essential, I suppose. Shouldn't possibly be thinking about what's essential, but on the other hand, maybe I should be. I took away the view button. I'm not going to bother with doing the height map, not in this program. I might write another small program that will just generate a height map from an array file. But of the final things to do now, they are in here. It's about whether or not I want to keep the low threshold at all. Well, no, there is one other thing. Okay, I think I want to eliminate the low threshold. Eliminate it from being shown. I'll just show a high threshold. Eliminate it from being stored in the log, or even really considered in the calculation. Just, it starts at 0. There are definitely other things, like there are ways of sort of altering that within the scale method, which I will speak about maybe in a video's time when I finally come round to it. Now, but getting rid of that for the time being, changing this somehow, I have thought about what really, look at that, this is me experiencing one of these drops, and I'll be able to open my task manager and see, oh, it's bouncing back a bit, is it? Yeah, not that much, but this is the memory assigned, and that seems totally normal for this. If I close this, I don't get anything back really. But if well, there was nothing loaded there though, to be fair. If I close that, get my chunk memory back. I get okay frame rates. Really, I should be getting an extra third at least on top of that. Anyway, what's the point of this? Yeah, to think about this. So low goes away. The scale styles. At the moment, what there is a string to describe which method you're using, and then an array, and there's a value to go with each method. It's really not much use. Or at least it's a sort of bare minimum. Because I could dream up lots of different sums that could be done at the moment that the scaling needs to take place. Variations on logarithmic, you know. Oh, I really want a quick sketch program. But what if there are other, like, I was saying last time that I didn't think I needed a value to go with logarithmic, but there is sort of maybe log value plus height. So new height equals log value. Let's see, v for value variable, v plus height. So I would take out the bit inside the logarithmic scaling where it says just make sure you're not at 0. Or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd have to leave that in as a kind of catch-all. But that if you could assign how much you want to offset everything using that value, which was used in the exponential, like. So I'll just make a note of what these actually are. So there's logarithmic 1, if I've spelled that right, don't know, is just the new height equals log of height. So, but logarithmic, how am I getting that different? I'm not. God. Like 2 might be that. And exponential is... Why am I bothering to make all this somewhat neat? I don't know. Is height to the power of value. So anyway, you know, are there other things that are worth trying? Is logarithmic 3, is there? I don't even know if I'm spelling that right. Is there any point to v times height? So you choose an amount to scale it by rather than offset it. But then, what about combining these things? What if I want v plus height time, you know, or two different values, a constant and a factor? Don't know, can't dream up other things for exponential. What if I wanted to include other functions? What if, you know, do I really want to get into a thing where I start thinking about what big sum could I, you know, and I could, in theory, make an editor, or make a bit of the editor which is about, in which I make a new class which describes a scale method in terms of a sort of mathematical function, where you can add and remove components of that. You know, I don't know what the names are, but I could probably come up with a structure. But that would be a really complicated thing to code, and it would be quite good fun, but I don't think that's really the point of this. When it's fairly easy to just add new scale methods, if and when, you know, as and when I come up with them. I suppose it might be worth just keeping the value thing in. But anyway, for the time being I'm going to call it a day, because I have sort of had a good think about what I need to do next, and I've solved some, not exactly a problem, but I have made this make sense. This doesn't really need to change now. It does. It is. You could certainly say it's a bare minimum, but you know, the whole thing is kind of doing a bare minimum. So I have to move on to the final things. One of them is just deciding on how I arrange this properly, partly so that this disappears, so that also the high threshold thing makes sense. I mean, really, I should make it that I should make it clear that there's a way of using the high threshold. One where it's a positive value, where it's setting it absolutely, or where it's a negative value. 0 or negative, where it is relative to the highest point in the actual render. But I do need to have an option of some sort which is about smoothing the high point when rendering a video. Because if it's using a dynamic high point, choosing it based on the actual high point of the array that has just been rendered, that changes so frequently and to such a degree that the animation will flicker in brightness. Anyway, that is a thing that I might think about absolutely last, because I can do an awful lot with a program without getting bogged down in that. Look, I've hit another crunch. Out of curiosity, yeah, it's just getting like a third of what it can get. Disgraceful. Anyway, solving that problem is for when I move to C++. Let me also just check. Yep, 42 megabytes. It's not like it's hemorrhaging objects. Anyway, coming to terms with the changes I have to make to the draw options button box is what I will do next time.